Hello everyone, I'm Akshitard over here, and today I'm going to be talking about the three things that you need to remember before you make any big move in your life into a new city or of any form, right? The first thing that you need to remember is to set the right context. Now, listen to me very carefully. The right context is everything. Now, what I mean when I say the right context is you need to understand why is it that you're moving. Your reason for moving or your reason for doing anything should be more than just work, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to. Sometimes you just get transferred and all that, but sometimes most of us are deliberately making it a choice to shift to different cities, and we all have a lot of personal reasons for doing it. Some just want to do it out of personal growth, some wants to explore a new life, some etc. So there's always like 1,000 different reasons. Now, you need to set the right context in your mind for exactly what you're trying to achieve by moving out. You need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I moving out? What exactly do I want to achieve by moving out? And how exactly am I going to achieve it? Now, this becomes a next. This may seem like a very simple question to ask, but you'd be surprised by how many people never ask themselves this question. People just expect to know the answers, or people just expect that they know what they're going to do. But in reality, even though you might, it's always better to have a concrete answer and a concrete discussion to have with yourself over exactly what you want to achieve by this. Because at every step in the way, whenever you're uncomfortable or you're in a difficult spot, you are going to come back to the very context that you set for yourself for the decision that you have made, which is in this case moving out to a different city. Now, for example, I've come over here, I've moved to a different city, and I am doing my master's in psychology over here, and I'm also working on the side. I'm continuing my training and coaching business as we speak. Now, for me, the reasons for coming over here are not just directly doing college and doing my work, which is obviously there, but there are a lot of things that I want out of my experience over here, right? I want to imbibe a lot more discipline in my life, because I feel like that's one of the things that I was lacking, to be very honest with you all. So I felt like I kept having my bursts of productivity, but there would be downfalls and back and forth, and I was getting pretty tired of myself, pretty tired of it, and the whole process, the whole things that I love doing suddenly doesn't seem so enjoyable. So, which is not a great place to be in, and it's never nice to kill your passion like that, right? It's never nice to burn down your true likes. Like, sometimes certain things that you even like doing becomes tedious, and it's never nice to be in a place like that, and I realized that I sort of got there. So basically, coming to the point, I want to be more disciplined. I want to be a lot more independent, which meant that I made the conscious decision to not have someone clean my utensils or make my food or do my own laundry. Like, this is supposed to be something any adult should do, but I made a conscious decision that I'm going to do all this not just for the sake of doing that, because all of this will build my character in the process, which is extremely important to me. Now, like this, you need to ask yourself, what exactly do you want out of your experience, and how exactly are you going to achieve them? Because you may want X, but you may end up doing Z, which may not achieve your Y. So you need to really know and set the right context. Moving on to the second thing that you need to remember before you move to any city or any place, or before you make any change in your life, any big change or any big move in your life, which is plan your habits in advance. This, I swear to God, I feel like this, I don't know how it came to me, but I decided one day that I thought to myself that, hey, I'm going to make a new, shift to a new city, which means that I'm going to be doing 10 more things that I wasn't doing in the present city, the previous city that I was living in, right? So there are going to be a lot of lifestyle changes in my life, and there are certain mannerisms or certain habits that I had which I would like to let go of, right? But sometimes okay, you know what? There's like thousand thoughts running in my head, but I'm going to tell you this, okay? We often make this mistake where we feel like we'll do everything at once. For example, the first of the month, for the first of next month, I'm going to be this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to quit that, I'm going to quit this, I'm going to, you plan everything. You feel like suddenly, it's like fooling yourself into believing that on the first of next month, you're going to hit the gym, you're going to eat clean, and you're going to wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, and etc, etc. You know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're probably laughing while you see me speak about this, because you probably have done this before, and you massively over rated and overstated the idea of, not state overstated, but like basically over, you were more overconfident about your ability to actually pull this off. But in reality, when you did this, you realized, damn, it is very, very, very hard to do this, and you often just end up getting overwhelmed by this process, and you quit it altogether. In the end, you go back to being who you are. Okay, it's like, I feel like I'm talking about a certain past version of myself when I'm speaking about this, because that's exactly the same mistakes I did. So what I need you to understand, and what you should remind yourself is before you make any big change in your life, kill the habits that you don't want to replicate when you move to the next city. Maybe you drink a lot, or maybe you smoke a lot, or maybe you not procrastinate, maybe you don't wake up in the morning like early enough, etc, etc, etc. Maybe you binge eat a lot, maybe x amount of things, right? It's very contextual to who you are as a person. So you may have certain mannerisms and habits that you definitely wouldn't like to carry along with you when you move to the next phase of your life. But sometimes you might be thinking, oh, when I leave my city, I'm going to do this, I'm going to quit this, I'm going to quit that. But hey, do not forget that moving to a new city is as hard as it gets already. It's never easy to start a new life, especially in a place where not a lot of people may actually know you. So settling in over there, moving in over there brings its own challenges, and the amount of challenges that you didn't even know would exist, right? For example, did you know that you're not supposed to use metal spoons on non-stick pans? Like like I just realized that I was doing this all this while, and I realized that it's not necessarily good for your pan stick thing. So this is such irrelevant information that I'm giving you, but hey, like these are some small challenges that you find out when you are moving in and you're living on your own, right? Especially if you're cooking on your own and doing all sorts of things, then it's going to happen. And yeah, so basically the point being, before you move, put down certain habits, like kill your certain habits of yours in advance. There's this, I might be slightly misquoting what I'm about to say, but there's this book called War of Art by Sun Tzu, and it's one of my favorite books. And one of the beautiful things that he speaks about over there is how it's always better to kill your enemies in advance. Like you should never struggle with a habit, you should never really struggle with breaking out of a habit, which means that, like, if you're going to enter into a war zone where there are going to be 100 people waiting to kill you, like, it's very hard to kill 100 people or 100 things at once. But if you're going to prepare for your battle in a certain way, before you even enter into that zone, and before there's no challenges, or before there are no real problems which can come in your way of battling this particular challenge, you're going to be much more likely to win that battle. It's so his philosophy, I know I'm saying, like, the example I'm saying is not very accurate. Anyone who's read this book will know that I'm slightly going off the pace, but the essence of what I'm saying is the same. Basically, kill your enemies while it's not already hard to do it. If you move into a new city and then you're going to decide to kill all of them at once, it's going to be very, very hard, because eventually you're going to run out of bullets. But if you do it in advance, you can always have time to reload and start and face the newer challenges that you're not going to be able to see. So whatever it is that you want to do, let's say you want to wake up early when you move to a new city, or let's say you don't want to smoke when you're into a new city. Plan this in advance and start following this before you actually move out, because you will be so thankful to yourself that you did this, because when it wasn't challenging, when you do this when it's not challenging, it will not be enticing when things get challenging later for you when you move in. So for example, for me, I usually am a early riser. I used to meditate in the morning. I used to do this, but in between we all fall off, and I fell off in between. So for me, I found very important to start waking up early in advance. Like before I even moved out, like I took 1 month as a good time to start like imbibing all these habits in my life when I knew I was gonna move out. And I started waking up early on time. I started like eating on time. I started doing this little things which was imperfect in my life in advance, so that it wouldn't be so hard for me to do all this when I'm moving to a new city. Because just because you move to a new city doesn't mean new city, new me, right? It's still going to be challenging for you. So again, plan in advance, plan your habits in advance, work on them while things are not 10x more challenging for you, and trust me, you're going to see beautiful results out of this, and you're going to thank me later. Forget me, you're going to thank yourself later. Okay. And finally comes to the third thing: prepare yourself to feel lonely, right? Now this is extremely important to remember, because as you know, this is actually one of the biggest reasons why people don't want to do solo travel, or people don't want to move to a new city, especially on their own, because they are always worried about the silence that comes along with it and the amount of loneliness that you'll feel in the journey, right? And sometimes it's inevitable. You might be a person like, for me, I am very comfortable with myself. I'm very comfortable with my alone time, with my quiet time, even if I don't have people around me. Of course I want social interactions. Like, of course, like, there is an extroverted side of me which loves to interact with people, talk to people and have fun. But a huge part of me is just very comfortable being in my own room, right? Today was a holiday, and all I did was spend time with myself, and I'm very happy with it. But it doesn't mean that even I'm not going to feel lonely. No matter how comfortable we are with yourself, you are going to feel lonely, because essentially you're starting a lot of things from scratch, and it may not be the same for everyone around you. They may be way more comfortable and more used to the surroundings than you are going to be. So not everybody is going to empathize with you. Not everybody is going to understand how you're feeling, but it could be a lot of things in mix. For example, I had a strong feeling that the first week of me in this new city is going to be extremely emotionally taxing for me. And I thought, like, I'm going to feel extremely homesick, and I'm not going to be able to deal with all these challenges. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. I didn't feel too homesick. I was okay with it, and for me, it felt like it was a long due coming, this entire move. But hey, you don't have to feel like that. You probably will get homesick, and it wouldn't be wrong for you to get homesick in that particular moment or situation either, because you're human. But in the end, you have to remember this one thing, which is change is always daunting at start, uncomfortable in the middle, and glorious in the end. So no matter how you feel in the first few weeks or the first month after you move in, just know that in the end, you're going to be extremely thankful that you did so. And eventually things will settle down and things will figure itself out. So don't fear your fear of loneliness. Don't fear all those things. Rather, embrace it. The earlier you understand it and build your mindset that, hey, you are going to face moments like this, you're not going to cave into your fear and turn back on your decisions, which could have done you a lot of good. So remind yourself of this, and with this comes to the end of the video. So if you like this video, please like this video and share this video with anyone you know. If you have just moved in, or you know anyone who's just moved in, share this with them. And please remember to follow my channel. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye bye.